Hey everybody, my name's Robert. Welcome back to my channel. Today's the day. We officially have a long list for the 2019 BookTube Prize, and so I want to take you through that. If you want to see the entire list in print, because the video, it's hard to keep in your brain all at one time, I understand that. The long list is posted on the website now, and I'll put a link to that as well so you can see the entire long list on the website if you're interested. Before I announce the 48 titles, I want to just give you some background information about how the list was selected, how the tournament itself is going to be conducted. Throughout the year, I keep a running list of new releases. I obviously can't read them all. I don't even try to, but I read a lot of reviews. I look at a lot of lists of the year's best books, and I come up with a list at the end of the year of ones that I think are reasonable to look at. And then I sent that list at the beginning of January to our 41 judges. We have 41 judges slated to judge at various points in the tournament. And I said, please look over this list. If there are any on this list that don't meet our criteria and that I need to remove, let me know. And there were a couple books that actually were in translation that I had to remove. And if there's any books that you think that I have overlooked, please let me know. This is the time we can add them. And I think they added another 8 to 10 books. So we ended up with a list of about 150 books, obviously more than we can include in the tournament. But I thought it was a pretty comprehensive list of what came out in 2018 in the United States. Just fiction, no short stories, no really short novellas, primarily literary fiction. We try to stay away from obvious genre fiction, although some of the books kind of cross lines and so on. And then I gave the revised list back to the judges and gave them, I think, a week or 10 days where they could register their votes. They were allowed to vote for up to 20 titles from that list that they thought should be in our initial field of 48 titles. And a lot of titles on that list got votes, way more than 48. But it did a really pretty good job of bringing what I think are some of the better choices to the top of the list. There was only one spot where I had to intervene. The way the votes broke down, there was a 12-way tie for the very last spot, the 48th book into the tournament. And I won't tell you which book that is because I don't want to prejudge anybody's views of the books. So what I did is I just took those 12 books and then I went and got the review ratings on Goodreads and selected the one with the best rating of those 12. And so I intervened on that the 48th book into the field, but I did it in as objective a way as I could. It wasn't a book that I had read anyway, so I wasn't expressing my own opinion there. So my own opinion only came into it in the sense that I had one of those 41 votes. So now we have a field of 48 books. They are split into 8 groups, 6 books in each group for this first round, which technically we can call the octafinals because there are 8 sections, 8 groups. There's a panel of 3 judges who will read each of the 6 books in their group. Independently, they will rank those books 1 to 6, 1 being the best, 6 being the worst. They won't talk to the other judges. I want these to be independent rankings, so a strong personality of one judge doesn't overduly influence another judge's maybe less firm convictions, but nevertheless their decision. So they'll come up with their own rankings, then I'll compile the rankings, and out of each group of 6 books, the top 3, the top half of that group, will advance to the next round. And then we'll do it again with the 24 books in the quarterfinals until we end up with a field of 6 books, our finalists. And then we'll do it one more time with those 6 books. There are a couple things that I want help on. One is I'd like to crowdsource somebody with some graphic talent to do a logo for us. I really want a logo for this event that I can put on the website and eventually maybe on merchandise or whatever. The other thing I want is I want us to come up with somebody who is good at social media management. I am not particularly good at that, and I don't want that to be something that I take on myself. I have abandoned Twitter. I have abandoned Facebook. I think they're cesspits. But I know that something like this, if I want it to be taken seriously as an event in the future, it's going to have a social media presence like the other big book prizes do. And one final thing, for judges or anybody making a video that mentions the BookTube Prize, please put somewhere in your description box hashtag BookTube Prize, and it'll show up above the title of your video, and anybody who's searching for that hashtag will come up with all the videos on the BookTube Prize, and that will really be helpful for both me and for anybody else who's interested in that. Okay, the last thing, I've delayed enough. The last thing before I announce the titles is judges. I will be giving you an email as soon as possible, either later today or tomorrow, with your judging assignment for this first round. I'm gonna keep the judges' names anonymous and leave it up to the judges if they want to announce who they are. I will ask the judges not to post any videos about the books that they've read until a certain date, but I'm not gonna make the judges' names public because I don't want people trying to influence them, frankly. Okay, so let's get to it. These are 8 groups. Each group was populated randomly. I'm using some old debate software that does this, and it just puts the 48 titles into 8 groups randomly. The order that I list them in is meaningless. It's a random order that the software generates for a speech competition where there would be 6 speakers, and it randomly puts them in a speaking order. So it doesn't mean anything that a book is the first one I mentioned or the last one I mentioned. That's meaningless. Okay, so Group A, let's get on with it. Group A has John Boyne's A Ladder to the Sky, R.O. Kwan's The Incendiaries, Sarah Perry's Melmoth, Anna Burns' Milkman, Chloe Benjamin's The Immortalists, and Amy Bloom's White Houses. So that's the collection of 6 titles for Group A. Group B, Rebecca Mackay's The Great Believers, Oyinkan Braithwaite's My Sister the Serial Killer, Fatima Farheen Mirza's A Place for Us, Delia Owens' Where the Crawdads Sing, Rachel Kushner's The Mars Room, and Matt Haig's How to Stop Time. So that's Group B. I feel like we should be having like World Cup music or something in the background. Group C, Joyce Carol Oates' Hazards of Time Travel, Imogen Hermes Gower, The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock, Karis Davis, West, Stephen Markley's Ohio, Kristen Hanna's The Great Alone, and Jodi Picoult's A Spark of Light. That's Group C. Group D, Richard Powers' The Overstory, Clarissa Gonawan, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, Rainbirds, Sigrid Nunez, The Friend, Aminata Forna, Happiness, Essia Dujan's Washington Black, and Tayari Jones' An American Marriage. So that's Group D. So that's the first half of the field. Group E, Shobha Rao, Girls Burn Brighter, Meg Wolitzer, The Female Persuasion, Michael Ondaatje, Warlight, Claire Fuller, Bitter Orange, Tim Winton, The Shepherd's Hut, Lenny Zumas, Red Clocks, and that's Group E. Group F, Christina Dalcher, Vox, Madeline Miller, Circe, Ling Ma, Severance, Asia Gable, The Ensemble, Ingrid Rojas Contreras, Fruit of the Drunken Tree, and Pat Barker, The Silence of the Girls. That's Group F. Group G, Akweke Emezi, Freshwater, Waitu Moore, She Would Be King. Heather Morris, The Tattooist of Auschwitz. Barbara Kingsolver, Unsheltered. Peng Shepard, The Book of M. Natalia Sylvester, Everyone Knows You Go Home. So that's Group G. And the final group, Group H, the last 6 books in the field. Jamie Quattro, Fire Sermon. Kate Atkinson, Transcription. Daisy Johnson, Everything Under. Tommy Orange, There, There. Claire G. Coleman, Terra Nullius. And the last book, Christine Mangan, Tangerine. All right, so there you have it. 48 titles. Round 1, or the octafinals, will take place in February and the first 3 weeks of March. And then towards the end of March, we'll have narrowed the field down to the 24 titles that move on into the quarterfinals. If you have questions or reactions, please put them in the comments. If you make a reaction video, I'll feel like we actually made it big time when people start making videos about what happens with the BookTube Prize. But if you do make any videos that mention the BookTube Prize, please use hashtag BookTube Prize in your description box somewhere so they show up on the search field, all right? Okay, check out the website if you want to see the entire list. Pick a group you want to read along with the judges and see what your predictions are. I love to see what people think. Are there any books that you think we blew it and didn't include? Are there any books on there that shock you that you think we shouldn't have included? I have my own opinion on a couple books that I was surprised made the field, and maybe 1 or 2 that didn't make the field. But if you're a basketball fan and you watch the hue and outcry every year in March when they announce the 64 teams in the NCAA tournament, there's going to be riots one of these days when a certain school doesn't make the field, whatever. That's part of the fun, I guess. But I think with 48, we do have a core of the best books of 2018. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see how this plays out over the course of the first year. All right, let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye, everybody.